They say children's laughter is the purest sound on earth. But what if the laughter you hear doesn't belong to the living? In one forgotten Nigerian village, the laughter of invisible children still echoes after dark, and anyone who dares to follow it never comes back. Tonight, we tell the story of the ghost children of Nigeria. In the thick of southern Nigeria, beyond rivers choked with reeds and forests heavy with the cries of night creatures, lay the village of Okiri. It was a place where stories lived longer than men, whisper over fires that burn till dawn. But one story, darker than all, silenced even the bravest tongues. They called it Iz Omomuo, the children of the spirits. Every night after sunset, faint laughter would drift through the air. It wasn't joyous. It was hollow, sharp, and carried on the wind like shards of glass. Farmers walking home heard it behind them. Mothers swore they heard little feet pattering across rooftops. And every morning, there would be small footprints in the dirt outside their huts. Though no children had played there, the villagers had one rule: never step outside when the ghost children call. But rules are always broken. One dry season, a young teacher named Ifeanyi arrived in Okiri. He came from the city, carrying books and bold ideas, eager to bring light to a place steeped in shadows. At first, the villagers welcomed him, but when he asked about the ghost children, their faces hardened. An old woman spat into the fire and whispered, "They're the Abiku, spirits of children who never belong to this world. They are born, they die, and they come back again, only to torment their mothers with endless grief. They walk at night, looking for playmates or replacements." Ifeanyi laughed it off. To him, it was nothing but superstition. Ghosts do not exist, he said. But that night, as he sat grading papers by lamplight, he heard it. A child's giggle just beyond his window. When he peered outside, his heart froze. The moonlight revealed tiny footprints circling his hut, though the earth was bone dry and no child had passed that way all day. Against all warnings, Ifeanyi followed the sound. He stepped barefoot into the dust, his lantern swaying. The laughter grew louder, weaving through the trees like a cruel game of hide and seek. Then he saw them, children, dozens of them. Their small forms glowed faintly, like smoke lit from within. Their eyes were hollow sockets, and their smiles stretched too wide. They danced around him in a circle, singing in broken voices. "Play with us, play with us, play with us." Ifeanyi dropped his lantern, his body frozen. The flames lit the air, and the ghost children vanished. But the footprints remained, circling tighter around him. When he returned to the village at dawn, his hair had turned streaks of gray. Terrified but stubborn, Ifeanyi sought answers. He found them in Mama Ngozi, a grieving mother who had buried 7 children before they reached the age of 10. Through trembling lips, she told him the truth. The Abiku spirits were not random. They were chosen souls, cursed to be born over and over, never to stay. Each time one dies, it returns through another womb, tormenting its mother with endless cycles of grief. But Mama Ngozi revealed a darker secret. Sometimes the Abiku grow angry. They do not return as babies. They come back as shadows. And when they do, they take other children with them. Ifeanyi realized the laughter wasn't just haunting. It was hunting. One night, the village woke to screams. A mother's child had vanished from her bed. Only tiny, wet footprints were left behind, leading into the forest. By dawn, 3 more children were gone. The villagers gathered, terrified. Some wanted to flee. Others demanded sacrifices. All eyes turned to Ifeanyi, the stranger who had drawn the spirit's attention. Desperate, Ifeanyi declared, "I will find them. carrying only his lantern and a charm given by Mama Ngozi. He stepped into forest as the sun died. The deeper he walked, the more wrong the forest felt. The air grew damp and sweet, heavy with the stench of decay. He heard whispers, not words, but the mimicry of children, his own name, spoken in voices that were not human. Suddenly, the trees opened into a clearing, and there they were, the missing children, standing among the ghostly Abiku, their faces pale and blank, eyes glassy like marbles. They were being led in a circle, chanting the same eerie song. Ifeanyi raised his charm, and the spirits shrieked, their forms flickering. But the children did not move. They were bound, entranced. Then one of the ghost children stepped forward. A girl no older than 7. She had no eyes, just endless pits. And when she spoke, her voice was layered with 1,000 whispers. We are not leaving. We were never meant to stay. But you do not belong here. Her skeletal hand reached for him, cold, brittle, and impossibly strong. Remembering Mama Ngozi's words, Ifeanyi fell to his knees and shouted, "You belong to the earth, not the living. Be free, and do not torment us anymore." He smashed his lantern on the ground, flames roaring across the clearing. The firelight burned through the ghostly forms, and one by one, the Abiku dissolved into the smoke. The missing children collapsed, crying. They were alive. But as Ifeanyi turned to leave, he heard it, one last giggle right behind his ear. The village rejoiced when the children returned. Ifeanyi was hailed as a hero, but deep inside, he knew the truth. That night, as he lay in his hut, he felt a small hand slip into his own. He turned and saw a child lying beside him, pale, smiling, hollow-eyed. It whispered, "We said play with us." The next morning, Ifeanyi's hut was empty. Only a ring of tiny footprints remained in the dust. In Nigeria, some still believe the Abiku walk among us. Children born and lost, only to return again, trapped between worlds. Tell me, do you think Ifeanyi became one of them? Or did the spirits claim him forever? Share your thoughts in the comments. And remember, the next time you hear children laughing at night, ask yourself, are they really alive? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me again for another terrifying African tale.